very special episode of the Say What Again, Billy podcast. I have with me a lady that needs no introduction, Joanne Digesu. Joanne, welcome back.
Hello. How are you?
It's been a while.
It has.
Missed you.
Missed you too.
We have a very big season ahead of us. Lots of things coming up, and I'm glad you're with us tonight because we have a new member in the Say What Again, Billy podcast, and that is Tori.
Hello.
Tori is our new field investigator, but most importantly, a psychic medium that needs your attention because if you listen to the very first episode of Side Talk, Tori was introduced to the podcast crew, and she said some interesting things. She told some interesting stories, and I believe that she has some untapped ability that needs your attention. So this entire episode, I'm just going to sit back and relax.
Nice.
And I'm going to let you guys talk. I'm going to be a spectator, and I'm going to let you guys figure out what's going on. And I wanted you to talk to Joanne because Joanne is, in my opinion, as I said on many episodes, the Jedi Master of psychic mediums. She won me over. She made me a believer. And if there's anyone that's going to help you out with the situation, it's Joanne Digesu. Ladies,
I appreciate it. Hello.
Thank you.
Hi. The stage is yours.
So,
Yes.
I did hear the episode.
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to just remind me of just a few things.
Whatever
and
order.
whatever it is that you want to share.
Okay.
That you're comfortable with sharing
Yeah.
so that we could dive a little bit deeper into what's going on.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep. Where do you want me to start?
Wherever is wherever
what do you
is
want a
the
refresher?
most, okay, so wherever is the most comfortable, because I did hear the part about bed shaking. I've heard the scratches. So I get the whole not so great things that you experience.
Yeah.
But do you ever experience anything great?
Occasionally, my brother, who has been, deceased now for like 12 years, it took him a while to break through in the dream world, to contact me. So I got that gift of contact from him, and kind of, healed our relationship that,
Love that.
had a very short end to it.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the stuff kind of is feelings. I can read people really well. I'm very empathetic, and I pick up on a lot of not just body language, but the vibe of a person or an aura of a person, who they are. But other than that, it's more so, premonitions and predicting things that then happen, or the, having attachments from entities or seeing shadow people. And so it hasn't really been a positive experience.
Doesn't sound it.
No.
I would run out the door. I'm a medium.
Yeah.
And everybody here knows that I am the biggest chicken shit medium you'll ever meet in your life. Okay. I don't do the entity thing. I don't do the paranormal thing.
Well, welcome to my world.
Okay. So my first question is going to be, and this is always a question that I would ask a student. So I'm going to treat you as though you are a client who is a student in my mediumship workshop, because I am going to lean more toward mediumship.
Okay.
And I just want you to know, the same way I explain to everybody, not every psychic is a medium, but every medium is a psychic.
Okay.
So if you have one and you have the ability to see the other side, you are also psychic, because 9 out of 10 times the other side is who's telling you what's coming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Have you ever tried setting the boundaries with the spirit world?
No. I've just tried to be completely shielded.
Okay.
Don't judge me.
I'm not. I would never. Because if you don't know, you wouldn't know. How can you know if you've never heard of that before?
And it started from a really early age. I was around like 11 or 12 when it started happening.
I remember hearing that. So very young age, we're experiencing all of this stuff.
Yep.
Who at that point, and I'm going to tell you, and I'm not doing a reading right now, but I just know that this is definitely a gift that's been passed down through the family. But if they were hiding it for whatever reason, and they probably were, they're not going to be open about teaching you how to shield yourself or how to set those boundaries. And so therefore you were just doing whatever you felt was right to you at the time. And I'm not saying that that's not the right thing to do, but the most important thing to know is that you set boundaries with spirit.
Okay.
It does not matter who they are, what they are. You know what I mean? So when I did mediumship, and yes, I am a psychic medium. I can't help it. I am a medium since I'm born. However, I did take it off recently. I don't know if SWAB knows this, but I did recently remove it from my offerings.
Okay.
Because, just because I'm good at it doesn't mean I have to do it for a living.
Right.
However, as a medium, you have the right to set the tone. So when I was practicing mediumship, I would make sure that they knew I'm a sleeping medium. Don't come in this bedroom.
Okay.
Do not, if you have anything to say to me, you're going to say it during work hours.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
So also there were a few things that when I first began my journey, not knowing anything, with no one to guide me, I was seeing a lot of not so great things. And I have mentioned this before on the podcast, because I believe that you need to see the not so great in order to recognize the good, as opposed to the trickster spirits.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you need to see the ugly in order to understand the light.
Yeah.
With that being said, I was seeing when I first started the journey, like hardcore, because I've done it since even younger, imaginary friends in the closet.
Yep.
Cool. Right.
Yeah. Awesome.
So I didn't know then either to block myself off or to set my boundaries. What I did was, the more uglier things began to get, and this was early on, I just started setting the boundaries. I would simply go over to, at that time, I would have statues, I'd have St. Anthony, St. Michael, all of them.
Okay.
And I would just go over them and say, look, I am not ready for this. I cannot handle this.
Okay.
Make it stop.
Okay.
And I would light a candle for them, and they did it. Okay. And then as my journey began and I started to develop more, I was like, hold on. I'm going to set more boundaries.
Okay.
And I did.
Okay.
Nothing ugly. Don't show me. Don't come near me.
Okay.
Don't touch me.
Yeah.
Because I heard about your scratching.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Don't touch me. Don't come near me. And do not give me anything bad. I don't want to hear bad news. But instead of saying I don't want, because the universe is like, I'm going to give you whatever you don't want first,
exactly.
Of course,
exactly.
I would simply say I'm only open and willing to receive that of higher light.
Okay.
If that's something you're comfortable with. Now, I'm just spewing.
Yeah.
And whatever resonates with you, you take that. But you have to know that you are in control of this. And so don't allow it to control you. You have got to say, and you have to set the tone.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Until you realize oh, wait, it hasn't happened. So they listen. So, okay, let me put another boundary up.
Okay.
Until it doesn't happen anymore. I can't promise you that if you're going to do paranormal investigations that you're not going to come across some things.
Probably will.
But that's, again, that has to be in your comfort zone. You have to set the boundaries before you even get there. Okay. And then you're going to cleanse after you leave so that it doesn't stick to you.
Nope. Always have Palo Santo and sage.
There you go. So you use it the way you feel comfortable using it. I always like to just educate people sometimes when they don't know this. Sage is meant to clear everything.
Yep.
So unless you put your intent on what that sage is to remove, it will clear your good, your protective spirits. It will clear everything.
Okay.
So make sure if sage is your go-to, then you go ahead and use it, but make sure you set the tone of
did not know
this
that.
Is the intent, because when sage is used in a sacred space, and I'm not saying that you're burning white sage, I'm just in general. It's for sacred reasons. They use it for sacred spaces to clear out everything so that they could start new.
Yep.
You don't want to clear out your good people?
No, not really.
You don't want to clear out your army of angels? No. You don't want to clear out the light?
No.
So let's set the intent. Even with Palo Santo.
Yeah.
You have to set the intent of why you're smoke cleansing.
Okay.
Florida water is another great thing.
Okay.
I love it. I make my own. You could find it, or you could get a recipe. I have
I'll just ask you.
Well, you can do that. Yeah. Definitely do that.
Just ask you.
Just ask me. You should have just told me. I would have brought yourself. But use your intuition.
Yeah.
What is right for what situation and when. But it's so important. You have to set your boundaries and you have to cleanse.
Okay.
Cleansing is super
always
important.
cleanse. Always cleanse.
Good.
But yeah, boundaries I have never kind of found it worked because it has been with the more nefarious.
Of course.
So when I have set the boundaries in the previous house I lived in, it was very haunted. There were 3 spirits there. There was one, I haven't figured out what he is. I know it's a he, and I'm pretty sure it's a human spirit, but for whatever reason, he's really nasty. And he like didn't listen very often. He would like rush up on you like out of the dining room.
The good part about the whole thing is that I don't feel it here.
Good.
So he
Yes.
may have been a spirit of the house that was stuck there. Also want you to keep in mind that, well, they hate light. Dark, it's not like, well, let me rephrase that, because dark does seek out light because it's like light, energy.
I've had that. Yeah.
However, you light a candle.
Yeah.
Goodbye, get out. When I say set boundaries, especially with the lower entities and the lower energies, you gotta get nasty.
Okay.
Like, I mean, like, scream. Like, you have to get nasty. Like, you're gonna sound like a crazy person.
Great, love it.
It's okay. Ring bells.
Okay.
They don't like anything that smells good. Okay. They don't like bells. Okay. That's all higher frequency.
All right.
White tea light candles. Burning them.
Yep.
Be gone. You know, a few choice curse words, of course.
Yeah.
Which, it's all these little things that you pick up as you go, and you're like, oh wait, this does work.
Okay.
Like if you have to sit there and say, get the fuck out of my house, that's what you're gonna say.
Okay.
And don't feel crazy saying it, because there's obviously you felt it in order for it to leave. Yeah. I'm beyond grateful that there is nothing here, or I would be out in the hallway answering your questions. I'm just letting you know that right now. I'd be like, yeah, Tori, how you doing in there?
It's great.
It's very peaceful here, and so that's what makes me feel like the things that you were experiencing in that home.
Yes. So they're definitely tied to the property, at least 2 of them. One is an older lady who we think died on the property. Can't conclude that.
Right.
But the one that caused a lot of issues, aside from the man in the dining room, my ex liked to do a lot of urban exploring, and of course he brought back trinkets from Letchworth Village, from a fallout shelter sign. And
how would we bring that back?
Teenager going, doing teenage things. So I picked up on that immediately when I first visited the house many years ago, like 10 years ago. Since then, when I moved in over 6 years ago, I put that in the garage, and then I got rid of it because I was like, no, there's no more chasing me up the stairs. There's no more shadow people when I'm home alone.
No.
There's no moving furniture and like terrorizing me when I'm just the only one in the house.
Oh my goodness.
We're not doing that anymore.
No, I would have left.
I'm going to jump in real quick, and I'm off camera just real quick. Is it true? I don't know, we touched on this. Her ex brought something back. Is it true that we can like salt and burn something?
Of course.
That's a true thing.
Of course. You could bury it.
Supernatural actually has some facts to it.
Some. I mean, we don't want to get too crazy. Like if I use cards over and over again for readings instead of putting them in the full moon in order to release that negative energy that the deck may have picked up, I'll put it in a bowl of salt and sit it at the windowsill so it absorbs the energy of the moon in the salt.
Yeah.
So you can in fact do that. You can bury things. I will always suggest always that if you're going to bury something or you're going to throw it in the garbage, it doesn't matter. You could throw something out.
Yeah.
Just make sure that you're not going to cross that same garbage throughout the rest of the day. So if you go take something to the corner and you come back in the house, you or nobody you love better be going to that corner for the rest of the day. Now, that's just some of my folklore stuff. You know what I mean? That's just some folklore stuff that I
just had to jump in for that
because
because she said that she has a sign that he brought back.
Yeah.
I know on the show.
You still have it?
No, I don't have it anymore. It's gone. It's gone.
Okay.
Yeah. No.
I'm like, you still have that? All right. Please tell me you don't have that. I'm leaving.
No.
I'll interrupt. I'll interrupt on the next interesting.
Yeah.
All right, go for it.
Okay. The other thing I do have to say, and I feel like, and I don't want to take over the whole conversation. I want you to talk more. But the one thing that I do have to let you know is that you also have to pay attention to your shadow work, what you need to focus on. Okay. Because sometimes it's not always the outside world. See, our outside world is a reflection of us inside.
Yeah.
The world is our mirror.
Yep.
And so if you're experiencing these things day after day, I'm going to tell you, chances are there's something within you, whether it be a trauma, it be PTSD to something, it could be anything. That really just sets you off, because when it sets you off, when you get triggered by something that is unhealed, it is going to cause a snowball effect of bad occurrences. Okay. So I'm not saying that that's what happened in the past.
Right.
But what I'm going to say is what I'm seeing in you now is we have some things that we should probably work on in order for not the negative to come through as hard as it does. Like, I'm not saying, like, just because I changed my path in my career and I focus more now in intuitive Reiki healing and it's all light, doesn't mean that there's not parts of me that need to get worked on. And so what happens is that when I'm talking to a client, I'm like, wait a minute, that sounds really familiar. So it comes through, but it comes through in a different way. It doesn't come through somebody scratching at me, banging on a door, calling my name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just comes through in a different way. So you want to sit there and you want to say, hey, when this happened to me, right? Like, just say if tonight you had an experience, a dream or whatever. And I'm not going to say premonitions or dreams are bad things. Just write it down.
No, I always remember them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just, remember is great.
Keep track.
Remembering is great as you get older. Like me, I don't remember nothing. I write things down. I voice note myself. It's great.
Okay.
However, just make sure you keep it a record somewhere, because it may not happen immediately. It may happen 3 weeks from now.
It's usually what do you have? A turnaround? 3 days or the very next day.
Yeah. And is it only bad things that you have premonitions about, or can you like celebrate something?
No, it's never been celebrated. It's never been celebrated. Okay. So the first one, I touched base on the episode that I was on. Again, little. I was probably maybe around 11, 10 years old. I'm not quite sure the age range I was at, but I woke up in the middle of the night around 3 a.m.
Of course.
Because that's how it happens. And I was very anxious. Now, I have anxiety. I'm a very anxious person to begin with. But yeah,
I mean,
we'll get to that. Yeah. But I woke up again, 8, 10, 11, however old I was. And I was so upset because I knew a fire alarm was going to go off somewhere. It meant something. It had significance. And I was really panicked about it. Like, why was I woken up out of a dead sleep to, I know a fire alarm's going to go off. And I didn't know why that was important. And here I am sitting here trying to go back to sleep. And I'm like, well, yeah, no crap, a fire alarm's going off somewhere. Like, that's probably happening in the world somewhere. Like, why are you upset about it? I wake up the very next morning, our fire alarm's going off.
Interesting.
So that was the first one that was weird. And then I grew up in Massachusetts. The spot of Massachusetts, I grew up, Plymouth area. We never get tornado warnings. Ever. Never get tornadoes. We're not in the South. Doesn't happen. I had a dream that we were going to get a tornado warning, and whether it was the high school or my old middle school to take shelter in. Woke up to the very next day to tornado warnings and measures of where to go for shelter if we needed to.
Interesting.
And then the very last one was, for whatever reason, I knew my dad was going to have to get a hold of me. This was in college. And so I usually always had my phone on vibrate at that time in my life. I put the ringer up and I turned it on because I just knew for whatever reason he's going to have to get a hold of me.
Okay.
I wake up the next morning to him calling me to tell me that my uncle just died of a massive heart attack.
Okay.
And when the services were. So just weird coinky dink things that,
nothing is a coincidence.
No, it's not.
But I'm going to say, in listening to that, I will I would like to transmute it a little bit into better energy.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm saying that is because, yes, they may not be good results, but they are warnings.
Yeah.
So I still want to be like, hey, that's a blessing, because you are getting that warning. Not dad with your uncle, of course. You're going to pick up things like that. You're intuitive, obviously.
Yep.
So that is going to happen unless you set the boundaries.
Yeah.
Because I will never know.
Yeah.
When something like that is going to happen to someone close to me or in my family, because it was the first boundary I set.
Really?
It was the pact that I made with the spirit world when I started to do mediumship professionally.
Okay.
I stated it loud, proud, and very clear. Mm-hmm. Do not tell me anything that is going to happen to my friends, my family, or anyone close to me, unless it can be prevented.
Oh, okay.
If not, I do not want to hear it.
Yep.
And then when I started more going deeper and doing it professionally on a larger scale, I said, I'm not going to send a client out of my chair anxious. So the same rule stands for them.
Yep. Okay.
You got to set the boundaries. Now, listen, if you're comfortable, I know so many psychic mediums who are so comfortable with telling people, hey, your uncle is... he's not doing well, and you may have a limited time with him. Like, of course, they're not just going to be like, he's going to die.
Yeah.
There's a way of saying
That'd be a little
it.
shocking.
But, like, there are some people who are so comfortable with it. So I don't want to take your uniqueness away from you by saying, hey, come to the light. No, I'm just saying, if that's where you're comfortable, because we need people on this earth who do that.
Yeah.
For people.
Yeah.
I ain't that one. But you could be. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as it doesn't affect you mentally, emotionally, and physically.
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing that I hated that you said it was that it's within me. The dark is within me.
Is that the thing?
Yeah. I told him that you were going to say something, and I knew you were going to say something that I was going to try not to lose my crapola about. But you said what I was most fearful of and have known for a really long time.
Yeah.
That
Again,
it's in me.
I'm off camera.
Yeah.
Because this is your episode. I'm actually scared to go over there right now. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. So she did say that. She's like, if she says one thing, and that's why I jumped in. I says, that was a thing? And she said, yeah. So.
Okay.
Listen, Joanne's the real deal. I'm just over here just watching through the camera. I'm staying awake.
Yeah. So, there's a few things that, and we could get into it, of course, off camera, because when we have to go within, it's never a pretty thing. And so that's something that I feel I would be more comfortable with speaking to you about, not on camera.
Absolutely.
Simply because I believe everybody's life is private.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but we could dive into that.
Yeah.
If you wanted to.
I would love to.
Because
Absolutely.
It's definitely, you're going to see such a big difference and such a big change in your everyday, but in life in general, in your path, once you start to face that within.
Yeah.
And there's a reason, as above, so below, as within, so without.
Yep.
And a lot of people may not get that concept until it's actually right in front of their face, where it's like, the people you're meeting, the situations that are occurring, all of this spirit world, the way it's affecting you, the way it's coming to you. Yeah. It's because that one thing in there is not taken care of.
Okay.
Once it gets taken care of, I'm not saying you're not going to have premonitions. I'm not saying that you're not the one who's gifted on this earth to be giving people warnings, because I know plenty of them. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. It's just not my path.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm just like, I don't want to know.
It's not the path I would have picked either if I had a choice.
I don't want to know. Don't tell me.
So you were saying earlier that I'm more entity than spirit. Can we go over that a little bit and dive deeper in that?
Yeah. So the entity, basically what happens is it snowballs because of what you have within.
Okay.
The more we take care of the within, the less the entity we're going to pick up.
Okay.
the more you'll start to transition into the higher vibing spirit world.
Because I always didn't understand. I consider myself a pretty higher vibrating person.
Yeah, your energy is.
Yeah. So I never understood why I attracted the lower vibration energies.
Because so two things. Number one, when you are a high vibrational and you are white light, it's going to attract, as I said, like a moth to a flame. Like, look at me.
Yep.
But you also don't have your boundaries up. You also didn't set the tone of, listen, I'm not going for this.
Yep.
And the other thing is because it's so important for us to take care of that inside of us.
Yeah.
That's the reason why.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's going to transmute once you do that work.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Also, you need to be very clear about what you want to do with this work. Do you want to help other people? Do you want to read? Do you want to do mediumship? Like, you have choices here.
Yeah, I didn't think it was really a choice.
Or do you want to keep it to yourself?
Yeah.
Because there are so many people who are gifted that they keep it to themselves and they use it to their advantage, which is also okay. Because they're like, no, I'm not going to go for that job because I already know I'm not going to get it.
Yep.
Or they tell their kid, probably stay away from that place because this is going to happen. Just a feeling.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they have to talk to strangers. Doesn't mean that they have to help the world.
Right.
So you also have to set the intent on what way is Tori going with this.
Yeah, that needs some reflection.
Of course.
To figure that out.
But still things to think about.
Yeah.
And as I tell everybody, and not everybody loves to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway because it's boring. Meditate.
I love meditating.
Good.
I love meditating.
Meditate with intent.
Okay.
So, go to your special place when you're going to relax. Go to your special place when you're going to sleep. Go to your special place when you're talking to spirit.
Yeah.
Don't allow spirit into your meditation when it's for you. Another boundary that needs to be set.
Okay. Yep.
They go wild.
Yeah.
They don't have time. They don't have boundaries unless we set it for them.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it. I was in my one house years and years ago. My 20-year-old was a baby. And I'm in the shower and all of a sudden a man comes in and he starts talking to me, giving me messages. I'm like, excuse me. This is a place. Now, of course, water is a conduit.
Yeah.
It's very easy for them to get in there.
Yep.
However, I don't need you while I'm showering.
No, thank you.
And I don't need you when I'm doing other things. Like, goodbye.
Yeah.
So again, boundary setting. And I used to, at that time, let them in during my meditations, not realizing that I was allowing them to cross that boundary.
Yep.
Because if you think about it, you're in the shower, you're relaxing, that's your time. Meditating, that's your time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that they know when it's your time. So even if spirit creeps in, and it could be your grandmother.
Yeah.
You got to kick her out.
Yeah. See ya.
You say,
bye.
listen.
We'll talk later.
Love you. Peace out. I have to ground right now.
Yeah. Well, so the way I ground is not usually by meditating, yes, sometimes. But funny enough, I don't get to do it that often in the winter because I love grounding myself to the earth. That's usually what grounds me the most.
Of course.
And that's the easiest thing for me. It comes naturally. I feel a lot better when I'm barefoot on this earth. I'm connected again. I feel like it's where I belong and I'm one.
Right.
That's how it feels. But during the winter, I definitely realize I am worse and activity does tend to pick up more because I'm not grounded.
Okay.
And then also considering lately, my dad just passed away about 2 months ago.
Okay.
Usually when there is a tragic death, things spark up again and there's more mayhem.
So they're
around
sparking
me.
again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you haven't set the boundaries?
No.
To tell them?
No, of course not.
Of course.
Of course not.
Of course. Okay. Fair enough.
We're learning new things today.
But we're going to work on that. We're going to work on that.
Yes.
So that doesn't happen. And so that you can go through the grieving process, because that is also so important. And that's another thing you need to take into consideration as well.
Yeah.
As a gifted person, we are allowed to grieve. We are allowed to put our energy where it needs to go.
Yep.
I sometimes will take off for 2 weeks. You won't see me anywhere, not on a podcast, not on a live, not on anything, because my energy is needed somewhere else, whether it be with me or with the family, whatever the case is. It's okay. You don't have to be on 24/7. They will drain you.
Yeah, that kind of feels like I'm either fully closed. I try to never open myself ever, or I feel like I'm always open, and there's been no in between for me.
So you need, no pun intended, a happy medium.
Yeah.
You need to find that ground where absolutely. You're like, okay.
Yeah. Especially now that I'm going to be going out in the field and starting to pick up on investigations again. One of the biggest problems I always had were, I don't want to call them attacks, but I always get very picked on by spirits immediately when I go anywhere. Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't go.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Immediately. Immediately. It doesn't, I've told Billy this.
Nope.
It doesn't matter. Whenever I have gone on investigations, I love the spirit box. The spirit box is one of the best.
Good for you. It scares the shit out of me. I'm like, why is it talking?
Okay, so going off of that though, right? I can't speak and talk at investigations and ask questions in the past because I would get malicious, malevolent anytime I spoke. And I was like, all right, fine, screw that. I guess we're not doing that then. But yeah, immediately when I go into places, I have also... I don't know what the right word. It wasn't possession, but I have changed when I was told that we are leaving a place, and they were not ready for me to leave, and so they started draining me. They started affecting my emotions. I got really mad. I got really upset. I couldn't understand why we were leaving this specific place. I wasn't ready to go. It was a really weird thing. And then when I was being led back to our car, it was like I was walking through, and I'll say this again, like molasses. It was like people were pulling me from behind while my boyfriend at the time was like dragging my butt across, this haunted place. Right. It was Letchworth.
Okay.
Back to the car.
Okay.
I always have experiences at Letchworth. I have unfinished business there.
So we're going to continue going.
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay. Good.
I don't know, man.
Billy might say no to that one now. After all the things today, he might say no.
Well, you know what? Clearly, you guys have been there before.
Yeah.
SWAB,
yeah.
right? So
they didn't get what I get. They didn't get anything.
So the thing is,
okay, never mind. Not anything, but
so again, you guys stay over there.
Yeah.
We didn't experience anything on the facility grounds.
Right.
Okay. Nick and I walked damn near the whole full circle of part of Letchworth Village. We picked up on a lot at the cemetery.
Okay.
Because the cemetery is filled with over 600 people, and a majority of them are unclaimed family members, friends, all that.
Yeah.
There is about 600 to 800 grave sites there. And they're marked with letter T's and ID numbers. Yeah. Only very few people there actually have gravestones because the family came back to actually claim the body that was there.
Okay.
That's the only part of that investigation that we picked up on things. Nick and I went into the buildings that were open again, playing by the rules, kind of, sort of. And we didn't really pick up on anything.
Every time.
Again, Nick and I aren't psychic, even though the last few weeks I don't know, had some kind of crazy stuff happen to me that's and that's why I'm staying over here. But we didn't pick up on anything. I had no weird vibes. And again, I don't get scared very easily.
Right.
The last investigation I was on, I swear to God, I saw something peek over a banister at me. I thought I saw a hand come over under the chair at me.
See, all those things. No.
I don't think...
It's a no for me.
I don't... But it didn't scare me.
Right.
And I don't get scared. In Letchworth Village, unfortunately, as a paranormal, I wanted stuff to happen, but nothing happened except for the cemetery, where we got 3 matches of 3 names on a spirit box.
Yeah.
And Nick and I were able to match them up on a memorial stone. Other than that, Letchworth... From a paranormal investigator standpoint, it was a letdown. But again, you guys are...
come with me and you won't be let down.
Yeah.
So you're going to go.
I want to go back.
And you want to put yourself in that situation because that's clearly...
I've never been able to talk to them and actually figure out
So you want to talk to them.
Yes, I want to figure... See, it scares the crap out of me what I'm able to do. But at the same time, it's really interesting and it's a big part of who I am.
Yeah, of course.
Right? But I want to know why I'm so heavily affected there. Why do they want my attention? Why do they affect me as much as they do? And every time, too, I get really bad headaches.
Good.
Same side. all the way down to my jaw. It's just from temple all the way down to my jaw. It's a weird thing.
Okay, real quick. I'm not cutting you guys off.
No, no.
Time out.
Time out.
So, when we went and met Danielle Taverna, and I'm off camera again, so it's better my face is not on camera. Mm-hmm. Bobby and I went to go meet Danielle Taverna. And Bobby will tell you this. You haven't met Bobby yet. He's a field investigator for the crew. I had a splitting headache that came out of nowhere. I am not lying about this. Okay. Now at my job, and I don't say my job on here.
Of course.
There was a little ghost history thing that we did at my job. And they put me as the point person, which I didn't know until I got there that day. And during it, things were happening.
While you're talking about this, I'm having right ear ringing. Sorry, continue.
No, it's why you're over there. And
that's why you're over there. Well, why does she need to be close to me? I don't understand. I'm just kidding.
I don't know. You guys got
putting up over here.
So during that thing at my job, this was the worst one that I've gotten in a long time. I got such a bad headache that when I got home to my house, I parked at a hydrant.
Wow. Okay.
I parked at a fire hydrant because there was no parking. And I left my car there all night. It was so bad. I parked at a hydrant. I took Advil and I fell asleep on the couch and then woke up the next morning to thank God I didn't get a ticket. But it was that bad. And again, Bobby was with me both times.
Yeah.
Because Bobby came with me to that event because he was my camera guy. And Bobby came with me to Jersey to meet Danielle Taverna, which you know her now.
Yes.
And I don't know why, but this is recently. This has been happening recently when I go out on things. And then off camera, I've been telling you some things that are going on.
Yeah.
And keep that. That's why I'm standing far away
so
from
that's
guys.
Negative energy. So I'm going to go back into my little folklore reason as to why that happens. A lot of times it's not necessarily that spirit is trying to possess. It's just more so because you'll know when spirit is trying to possess as opposed to
or oppress
negative energy or low vibe and energy or as the Italians like to call it, the evil eye. And so when you get that evil eye, it will debilitate you depending on your level of sensitivity.
Yeah.
So I have come across it at times in places around certain people. And I know when it's going to happen because I know the crowd. I know who I know it, you know, and I'm just like, okay, well, let's do whatever we can to protect ourselves. But and then, I got to go home. I got to do the prayers. I have to do everything. Right. But that I would say you're not grabbing, I don't feel necessarily the evil eye from the village. I'm going to call it the village.
Okay, fine.
Okay. Whereas you may have come across the evil eye just by picking it up because when you're around certain people, if they, like say if Danielle that day before you met her did a reading and she picked it up from somebody else, you're going to pick it up.
I asked her very specifically. I said, she'd said something weird about Bobby.
Yeah.
In regards to somebody that he knew. I asked her very nicely. I said, please, if you pick up on anything about me, keep it quiet.
Okay.
But we walked through a cemetery that was abandoned, and I started getting a headache.
Yeah. Also, keep in mind, sorry to cut you off, people go to cemeteries, especially that are abandoned, to do not nice things.
That's true.
During their own beliefs and practices.
Right.
I don't take part in that, and I never did because, again, not in my scope.
Yep.
It's not in my scope. To each their own.
Yep.
I don't play with certain things.
Yep.
Right.
Same.
But if someone, let me just say, if someone maybe cleansed themselves with an object and then left it there and you walked through it, now you just picked up whatever they left.
All right.
You get what I'm saying?
So I don't know. So I was just saying.
I like when his skeptic side of him comes out.
I'm not.
The gears in his brain start.
I'm not being skeptic.
No,
I'm just having a lot of weird things happen the last few months, especially the last few weeks, and I just don't want that.
Right.
I like my meters.
Set the boundaries.
I like debunking things. I never considered myself a psychic. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you listened to the second episode of the Side Talk for SWAB.
I think I did.
I had an episode. I had
a Dreamwalker one.
I had a dream where I woke up. I had a dream that night of my mom flushing a goldfish down the toilet.
Okay.
And literally, I woke up the next morning, and what was my mom doing? Literally, I just woke up. She was flushing our goldfish down the toilet. I remember this vividly. So unless it's just like a false memory, you know what I mean? And then, unfortunately, I'm going through something with my family member, a family member right now, and I had a very vivid dream. And I woke and it woke me up in the middle of the night, and that's how I know it was a real deal dream.
Yeah.
And there was words uttered to me in that dream by a specific family member.
Okay.
And a week later to today that I had the dream, that family member got a pacemaker put into his heart.
Okay.
I don't believe in coincidences.
No.
I also don't like the shit because I like to just be like the Egon Spengler of my group. Yeah. Don't want to be the gatekeeper. Are you the gatekeeper?
Right.
I'm not. I'm just cool with being an investigator.
Right.
I have done this for 20 plus years, and have never once had anything like this happen. And then all of a sudden,
something shifted. Something changed. Something along your path opened, and now you can either close it or you can embrace it, but embrace it with the boundaries that I'm telling Tori that she needs to put into place. Because
just kick it to the curb, man. Just be like, see you later.
You know, because the thing is too is that when we push it down and we push it down and we push it down, it basically, the only thing that's going to happen is it's just going to come back up like a volcano. Yeah. And so you really have to, again, sit with self and say, what is it that you're showing me? Are you showing me that I'm more in tune than I thought I ever would be? Or are you showing me this because you want to warn me about something? What is it that you're showing me this for? And again, sit with self. Like that's the biggest thing that we all can possibly do. Yeah. Psychic or not, sit with self. And we're all psychic. Yes. Every single one of us.
Yes.
Yeah, every single one of us is psychic. We're born that way. That's the reason why kids are able to pick up on everything and anything, you know, out of the mouth of babes, right? Yep. Because they don't have a filter. They're not being told yet, don't say that, it's not normal.
Yep.
Don't feel that, it's not okay. They're not being told that. So we are all born with intuition. It just depends on the individual, how high they want to take it. To what level do they want to take it?
Yeah.
Do they want to elevate it?
Right.
And so that's the same with you, Tori, is do you want to elevate it to where it's no longer entity and it becomes more lighter? Or are we comfortable with sitting?
Heck no.
I don't necessarily mean getting haunted by.
No.
But are you maybe okay with, like some of the other psychics that I have mentioned that are okay with, okay, well, you know what? Somebody has to warn them. If I was given this gift by above, then this is what I'm going to go with.
I mean, I do kind of like that aspect just because, again, not everyone has that.
Correct.
So I do like the uniqueness of it.
Yep.
I just don't appreciate entities living in my closet and coming out at night and watching me while I sleep.
No, that's weird.
That's a little weird.
That's weird.
So, you know, if we could do without that more so.
You definitely can.
No, I'm definitely not. The funny thing about this monster was I couldn't see him was the biggest issue. Okay. So like I have said, I've seen like shadow people. Yeah. They don't usually interact the way, like, I will just see them in passing. Yeah. Or, like, I've seen animals a lot as shadow pets around.
Yeah. That's okay.
But it's the ones, funny enough, that I don't see that are the ones who are terrorizing and causing
scarier
issues.
to you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I understand
so, because I'm picking up on the vibe and I'm picking up the intention.
Right.
But I can't see you. I know where you are. Right. But I can't see you.
So it's the mystery that scares you.
Yeah. I mean, it also scares me, like, seeing you. I don't want to see you with your, like, face cut off or anything. Right. You know what I mean? I don't want to see that.
Also, the more you develop, the more you're going to realize, or you're going to come to understand why they show themselves in certain ways and in certain dimensions.
Yep.
Because certain things mean. So, for instance, when I was doing mediumship, if somebody had taken their own life, I would pick up on the person, their whole entire feature. But their face would be missing. It would be a black hole.
Oh, okay.
Now, that was my sign. Yeah. That was only my sign. That's not how everybody else, not every other medium will pick it up that way. But that was my piece of the puzzle of, oh, wait a second. As soon as I see that, I'm like, that person took their life. And then sure enough, the client would be like, yes, they did.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, you will start to pick up, the more you develop that side of you, if that's what you choose to do, you will start to pick up those certain signs, those certain signals as to what they're trying to show you and why they're appearing the way they are.
Okay.
You know, when I sit with a client and I was doing mediumship, if all of a sudden in my mind's eye, I'm seeing a tennis court, I know I know what it means, and it's not tennis.
Yep.
But for me, it means something else. It was the significance of something else. So, and it's always fun when they change the signs on you, especially when you're in the middle of a reading. And I'm like, what? But that meant that before.
Guessing
what did you do? You know? But again, you're going to become so familiar with yourself and with your signals and your signs. Yeah. There's a reason why you don't see those certain things. Yeah. I'm just going to say things.
That's fine.
Okay. There's a reason that they're not showing themselves that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And you'll find out why, but you have to ask.
Yeah, I didn't want to ask.
Well, you got to ask.
So sometimes you don't want to know. Ignorance is bliss sometimes.
Not when we're playing with the spirit world. You got to know.
So we're running. We still got a little bit of time.
Yep.
So before we end off, being that you have Master Jedi, Qui-Gon Joanne here, do you have anything that you'd like to ask before we conclude the episode?
One thing do you pick up on any spirits currently attached to me or around me? Because I do get that a lot.
Do you want to know something? I'll be completely honest with you. I don't.
Good.
I don't.
Good.
But there's a but.
But
I also put my boundaries up because I'm not doing mediumship anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I refuse to even allow an inch. Yeah. Because then they'll just all start flooding back in.
It'll be a floodgate.
So energy-wise, I'm not picking up on any low vibrational energy. I feel very at peace in this home. I feel very comfortable sitting next to you. I'm not feeling like, get me out of here. I don't have the headache that we were talking about. So those are all good things. Spirit wise though, I can't sit here and say yes or no because my wall, that's it. It's done.
Kaput.
It's kaput.
Kaput.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. That's fine.
Energy, you're good.
Okay.
Aura, I like it. I'm seeing a lot of rainbow colors.
I was gonna say, what are you seeing?
I could see a lot of rainbow colors here. We have some yellow, we have some green, we have some things.
What's the primary color that you see? What's the predominant one?
Yellow right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I usually get pink. I'll take that. I'll take yellow.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? I didn't know about this.
It's a thing. Yeah. It's a thing. So again, our paths, they can change as frequently as we want them to, right? And we grow from it and we learn from it, and so I'm like, well, you're yellow.
Okay.
Well, I like that.
All right, that's fine.
The yellow man.
Yeah, right. Jeez, I'll take yellow. That's fine. That's fine.
That's it.
No more doom and gloom. We had enough of that.
I don't. Good. Like I said, I don't read like that, and I don't pick up on that because it's a boundary that I set, and also that kind of comes along with mediumship.
Yeah.
So I don't do it
when
anymore.
you were practicing, did you experience any of the ear ringing that some of us do, or was that never like a thing for you?
No. So it would never be something that I would pick up in a place or a space. It's more something that I would pick up in my own personal life.
So I get both. So I've always wondered how common that is with other psychics or mediums.
Ear ringing is very common.
Okay.
It's very common.
Okay.
It's very mediumship for me. I would get a taste. I would get a smell. I would get, so I would know, like, you know, I'd be like, why am I tasting chocolate chip cookies? And the client would be like, well, my grandmother right before she died was making chocolate chip cookies.
Oh,
so I'm like, okay, cool.
I don't get like the taste or the smell stuff.
But again, this is like over 20 years of doing, so it's like, and it changed and it grew. And then I just outgrew it.
Yeah.
You're just starting.
Yeah.
So we're going to develop you from where you're at.
All right.
And then go up, if that's okay with you.
That's fine.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I may not do mediumship anymore, but I have no problem teaching it.
She's going on speed dial now. Just say.
No problem teaching it.
You guys need to be friends quick. Let me get back into
get back
now
into
he
the
wants
camera
to join?
space. Yeah.
Yeah, because we're about to
Now he wants to be next to me. Can we just say
Because
that?
he heard yellow.
Yeah,
yellow. I don't know about the colors and stuff, but I was just I don't want any all you psychic stuff. You guys got it. You, Danielle, Tori, you keep that stuff over there.
Love it.
I try to.
I am not afraid of anything in the paranormal world, but when it comes to like I started experiencing stuff.
No, thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah.
Well, welcome to our everyday life, man.
Well, yeah, no, that's.
He's like, no, you
that
can
over
keep
there.
that.
It's fine.
But I just want to thank everybody for taking part in this tonight. I think this was very important for Tori to talk to you.
Awesome.
And of course, the SWAB podcast actually really missed you.
Oh, thanks.
You know? And of course, a big thank you to Spotify for Creators. If you don't know about Spotify for Creators, it is the free podcast outlet that you can start your own podcast. All you have to do is download the app on your phone, tablet, or computer, and you can have your very own podcast idea.
Places.
Yeah, there's a lot of places.
Yes.
A lot of places.
So if you want to get your own podcast idea and put it out there, download Spotify for Creators to get started. Joanne and Tori, both members of the Say What Again, Billy podcast. We're going to have some fun in the future. I want to thank you guys wholeheartedly for coming on.
Thank you.
You guys have to exchange numbers.
Oh, yeah, I said she's going on speed dial.
Yes. You guys got to, you right now are like Qui-Gon Jinn. I know, I'm a Star Wars nerd. Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi back in the day.
There we go.
You know, I don't know the Harry Potter reference.
Hey, leave my Harry Potter alone. She's like Dumbledore.
I was just going to say Dumbledore. That's all I know. Dumbledore. But
Dumbledore. Did you just say Dumbledore?
I'm not a pothead.
I'll take it.
But anyways,
whatever it is, like I said, I don't do mediumship anymore, but I do teach it.
Yeah.
So I have no problem doing that.
Well, you're now going to be my sensei, so let's go.
Yeah.
You got it.
I see what you're saying. All right, there we are. And that has been another episode of the Say What Again, Billy podcast with Joanne Digesu and our new member, Tori.
Yeah.